Howdy, 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 all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome back to another day here on Anti-Tools Farm. Berkeley is going on a sword rampage.
Oh, I'm
He's...
inventing a new square dance.
Oh, is this meant to be performed with partners or by yourself?
Um, only partners if they're very brave.
I think Berkeley has decided to give up leveling in farmhand and work on his barbarian leveling.
Yeah, I've always thought my barbarian stat was too low in this game.
All right, well, and without further ado, let's go hand out fruit to people.
Okay.
That's how I
And
get
by
people to like
us, you
me.
mean you and the viewers, right?
Me and the viewers. Oh, and we have some diamonds to give away too.
Mm. And remember that the diamonds are not loved by everybody.
Oh, really?
There's like 8 people that love those.
Oh, I thought everybody loved diamonds. I've been giving them out randomly.
Ooh. Well, probably everyone likes them, so it's not too bad.
Nobody's like, I hate diamonds. I would
Screw
hate it
you,
if a
man.
random guy came up to me and just gave me a big old diamond. I've already
Man, a
given.
diamond the size of your head, how much would that cost?
Oh man, that's a great question. Probably depends on the quality. I don't know how the quality thing works for diamonds. Once we get some people in the chat, we should definitely ask them to look it
Any
up for
diamond
us.
experts?
Yeah. Berkeley, how big can a building in Pelican Town be on the inside? Do you know if there's like a limit to that? Because this
Um,
Pierre's is pretty big.
Pierre's is pretty heckin' big. If you get all the house great upgrades, yours rivals Pierre's. I don't know if it's might be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, but it's pretty comparable. I don't. Do you think the community center is bigger?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't think it's quite bigger because I have to walk depth wise to see the back, which you don't have to do at the community center, I don't think.
That's a good point. Yeah, Pierre might take the prize then. Let's count Krobus, the sewer house,
Oh,
because he's got like a whole other area
that's an
in his
interesting
sewer.
idea. I don't think I've been down there to like actually see the additional area.
I don't actually know if we can yet. There's like a little side quest that happens down there.
I'm just impressed that a town this small actually has like city water and sewer. That's impressive.
Yeah, they must have built that before Mayor Lewis diverted all their tax money to building golden statues of himself.
Does he actually have a gold statue of himself somewhere?
Yeah, he does.
Where can I find it?
I think you need to find a secret note about it first, and then you can find it in his backyard.
Okay.
Um, Babarma says that rabbit's feet are great loved gifts for everyone except Penny. I learned
Ah,
that when I gave one to my wife, Penny, the first playthrough. That was a sad day.
that's rough,
And
buddy.
oh, Babarma also says the dwarf mine is the biggest dwelling. There we go.
Oh, does that count as a dwelling? That's interesting.
He sure does dwell there. I don't know what else you want.
Yeah, but he only lives on one layer, right?
Yeah. By choice, though, I only live in this one office. That doesn't mean the rest of my house isn't real.
That's a great point. That is a great point. I just went into someone's bedroom for the first time ever, and I can walk through their bed like it's not even there. Who
Congratulations.
sleeps here? Oh, I found a note in
There
the
you are.
dresser. What?
You're in Jody's bedroom?
Yeah, I guess, Jody, since I'll be coming home soon, I wanted to tell you a few things. I might not be the same man you remember. Oh, this is sad. I've seen some things out here that have really shaken me up. I've been having a hard time, a real hard time relaxing. I don't want to scare you or make you upset. I just don't want you to be shocked when I get back. Remember, No matter how I act, you and the kids mean everything to me. I'll see you soon. Kent. That is some deep lore about Kent's PTSD from fighting in a war, I think.
Yep. Yeah. That's one of the things I love about this game. There's so many like little details about the people. Great.
Now I wish I could give Kent my diamond because money solves all problems.
I mean, money plus a therapist would be good for him.
Pay
Any
the
therapist in your
therapist.
pocket?
Yep.
So Jared, you told me that you got to join an exclusive club you've never been a part of before.
You know what is interesting about being a preteen is that you see these teenagers with like acne and braces and you think, wow, braces, I want those. That's so cool. And then you go get braces and you realize, oh man, this kind of sucks. Well, this week I got to experience something similar. I finally had a package stolen off my porch after the 10 years that I've lived here. It finally happened. And I got to tell you, it kind of sucked.
And this is something you've just been quietly thinking to yourself, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's like now I have the big city experience without having to live in a big city, so that's cool.
Okay.
But, the downside is I don't have my stuff that I paid for, so that's less cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty big downside. I've got to say, I don't think I've ever had something stolen off my porch, but I did one time have stolen goods placed on my porch.
Oh yeah.
Uh, we got a package from Amazon that we hadn't ordered, and we opened it, and it was three Kindle Fires. And we went on their website to try to like figure out how to return them. There were no instructions on how to return a package that you yourself had not ordered. There was like the refund portion of the website, but nothing at all about like returning something you didn't order. So like after a week of trying to return these things, we were like, okay, I guess we'll just keep them. To ease our conscience, we were going to keep one and donate two to charity because it was
Yeah.
like Christmas time and there were lots of charities going on. So we opened one up and like tried to log in, and then the very next day we got an email saying the Kindle Fire that you tried to log into has been reported lost or stolen. It was a very threatening email, especially considering how hard we had tried to already return it. Um, so yeah, then we were able to send all three back.
You got reverse porch pirated.
Hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
So Jared, what did you order and did you get it back?
It
Mom wants
was
to know.
an audiobook for my favorite book series, and I have not received it back yet, and I'm kind of doubting I will. I'm going to try to file a claim with UPS and see like maybe they just didn't deliver it and maybe it wasn't actually stolen. They just like delivered it to the wrong place or something, but they've never done that before. They're pretty good. The UPS guy is pretty good about, you know, delivering things.
Do you have like a UPS guy that you know?
There's like one truck that I think it's the same person. I wasn't home to see this time, obviously. Otherwise, I'd know for sure if it was stolen or not, or I would have
Uh-huh.
just taken it inside and I would have it. But yeah, it's a small town, so I don't. I mean, the UPS center here in town has I think 4 or 5 trucks. Um, But yeah, they always come by at the same time of day, so I'm assuming that it's like probably the same truck slash individual operating the
Mm.
truck. It's a big
Yeah.
assumption. Now that I think about it, that seems pretty unlikely. Berkeley, you brewed some mead.
Yeah.
Is
Just
that?
stuck some honey in that there
I
keg.
was gonna say that's honey liquor.
Hmm.
Should I drink it or should I sell it? Probably should
Uh,
sell it.
should probably sell it, yeah. Jared, exciting news. We've got enough money. Oh, not enough wood, but we can buy the wood. We've got enough money to get enough wood to build a shed. We'll do that
Excellent.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we can put all our future kegs in the shed so that they won't like hog up space over here. We'll need to use enough bombs to like clear out a spot for it. Although
Okay.
we might already be able to fit it here.
I
Hmm.
will probably need to do a little bit of fishing so that I can afford more bomb pieces. I've got
Oh, are we
6
all out of
bombs
bomb
right
pieces?
now. And we've got a ton of coal, but what we don't have is a lot of copper, I think. Let's take a
Okay.
look. Oh, we've got 74 copper. That's probably enough. Why can't I open the gray chest? Please. I'm clicking on it and it's not doing anything.
Really?
There it is. I guess I was missing somehow. I don't know.
Classic. So I think over here in front of the greenhouse would be a good spot for it.
Okay.
It should be out of the way, and it's almost cleared already.
All right. I might as well get to it
Oh yeah, sure. I think
right
we
in
need
here.
like 3 tall and 6 wide to build a shed. Maybe
Okay.
smaller than that.
It's kind of cool that they included the light flash of the explosion
Yeah.
as part of it.
I'm amazed by how smooth the lighting around the glow ring that you're wearing is.
Oh, yeah.
There's like nothing else in the game that's that smooth.
It's a beautiful gradient.
Yeah, very pleasant.
It makes me feel superior to everyone in the game.
What doesn't make me feel superior is when I run right into your bomb blast because I mistimed it.
Well, that's okay. You should still feel superior because you can survive a direct bomb blast and be fine.
Cool. So can everyone else in town, even the chickens.
Oh, I did not try that on anybody else in town.
So that might be enough room. Maybe we need to get this sapling or this stump.
Okay, what about the stump? Because it's a little harder and also lower down.
Okay.
So these are called cherry bombs, which I was first introduced to as like a firework.
Hmm.
So can you imagine trying to cut down like all the trees we've cleared, all the stones and things with just like
With
little
fireworks.
fireworks?
That would be an insane thing to do.
I wonder, like real life, if you found one of those stereotypical storybook trees that had the little hollow in it that like if it was nighttime little animal eyes could spookily gleam out at you from. I wonder if you put
Uh-huh.
an actual firework in one of those if it would even do anything to the tree.
Yeah, I feel like those have a lot of noise and light and not a lot of actual force behind them. Would be my guess, but I wouldn't want to test that with anything important.
You know, it's interesting though because they do make a really loud sound, which tells you that like they're moving a lot of air. So yeah, that's fascinating.
We are still making more money with truffles than we are with all the other wonderful things we have going on. I don't know why anyone does anything other than truffles in this game, including myself. I always forget how profitable they are.
Maybe they don't like dealing with swine.
That's totally valid. Okay, I'm gonna head up to Robin's and get that shed made then.
Okay, I have some wood from last night that I have in my hand.
Oh, can you put it in a chest so I can grab it, or just
I
throw it
will.
on the ground?
I will throw it on the ground. How
Not
do,
a part
how do
of
I
your
do that?
system.
I never throw things on the ground. Berkeley, can you tell me how to drop this onto the
Are
ground?
you on PC?
I am. Oh, maybe I just did it.
Open your invent. Oh yeah, you did it. Good job.
Okay. Whew, I almost look like a fool in front of everyone.
Whew. Oh, close.
Oh, top secret. Here's the recipe for my famous blueberry tart. Don't tell anyone. I'm giving it to you because we were such good friends. Pierre.
Aw.
Thanks, Pierre. I'm going to add this to all the lists of everything else people have told me that's supposed to be secret.
Jared, I just realized something. So to get perfection, one of us has to do each individual thing. We don't need one of us to do everything. It's just for each individual thing, one of us needs to do it, and like for each category of thing. So you're catching all the fish and making all the friends.
Yeah,
I just realized that a lot of the recipes that we need to cook, you get by getting
making
to a certain level of
friends.
friendship. So you might also need to do all the cooking.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I love cooking IRL
Okay.
and in the video game. I've never actually done it in the video game, but I'd assume that it's way easier first off,
Yes, so much easier than real life.
but also
100%.
less rewarding as a consequence.
Yeah, especially in like the your stomach feeling good department. Not really comparable.
All right, Pam, take this gift. Why do these people only accept two gifts? If I had a friend who tried to give me a gift every day, I would take them every time. I'm not gonna be like, no.
I would I would start worrying about owing them something. And
Oh, yeah, but it's like free. If somebody handed me an apple every day,
oh yeah, that's true. If it was an apple, if
if
it
it
was
was
like
a
a gold
diamond,
bar, I would be like, well, hold up. What are you trying to what are you trying to say?
how did you get this? Is this legal?
Am I your fence now?
Or the Patsy, the fall guy?
Mm. Jared, I saw a wonderful movie over the weekend.
Tell me about it.
It was called Dungeons and Dragons:
That
Heroes Among
I
Thieves.
thought that the name was just gonna be Dungeons and Dragons.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Um, Geez, wood is expensive. Robin is robbing us.
I just got a cutscene with Jody. She's making popcorn, and Kent is having a PTSD episode.
Ooh, yeah, this is an emotional cutscene. Wow.
Should have known that sound would remind me of war. I lost a lot of good friends in those bloody trenches. Trench warfare. Brutal. But dear, popcorn was always your favorite before you left. Things have changed. Berkeley has requested construction of a shed. Oh, she's whispering to me. Jared, can you say something to him? Oh no.
Quick, diffuse all their marital
I
problems.
was not paid to this. Uh what should I do? So it says Jody's to blame. She should have known better. I know you're hurting, but don't blame your wife or lie. Blame me. I asked for popcorn. Okay. I think that my best option is lying. For just
Okay.
because I want to see what's gonna happen if it'll make them both dislike me. Oh no. Don't lie to me. I hate lies more than anything.
Wrong
Yeah.
choice.
Well, there you go. I'm sorry, honey. You couldn't have known the sound of popcorn would make me upset. It's okay, dear. The last thing I want to do is make you upset. I'll do my best to keep your spirits up from now on. All right. Anyways, we're back. Tell us about Dungeons and Dragons. Um, something about thieves.
Honor Among Thieves.
Honor among thieves.
Yeah, it was just a delightful movie. So I think we've talked about Dungeons and Dragons on the stream, and we are both big fans of the game. Um, this movie was just a really great adaptation of a lot of D&D mechanics. You've got so the plot is about a party. You've got your bard and your barbarian and your druid and your sorcerer, and they are on this quest. And at times it's very serious, and at times it's very very silly, just like a real D&D game. The cast did amazing, uh, and it was just a really fun, great movie. And I think I can't say for sure since I know a lot about D&D, but I think that it would still be enjoyable if you didn't know anything about D&D. Like all the specific, like if you're into just generic fantasy, I think that you'll like this movie. Um, but like silly fantasy, not serious fantasy. This is not Tolkien at all.
Can I ask a question about what defines the genre of fantasy?
Yeah.
So, fantasy is like a subsection of fiction in that it doesn't attempt to be realistic or base itself in the real world.
Hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's like the loosest definition. Um, yeah, I guess I should say like medieval fantasy to be more precise. Like kings and lords and magic spells and dragons and things like that.
Because, I mean, yeah, it's interesting to think about the difference between fantasy and sci-fi is that one generally doesn't worry about science and the other generally doesn't involve magic. Would you agree that that's kind of the differentiating factor?
I think that there are definitely some gray areas between those two. Ender's Game comes to mind. Star Wars comes to mind, where you've got like a lot of spaceships and traveling from planet to planet, but also like some mysterious, almost spiritual things going on that you can't explain. Like where does the Force fit in? Is that sci-fi or is that fantasy?
Yeah.
But aside from those like gray areas, I think that's a good division.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope I didn't ask this already, but I was wondering if it was live action or animated.
Yeah, it's live action.
Okay.
The Yeah, the visuals were really cool, really good. It was fun seeing a lot of the spells that you might have used if you've played Dungeons and Dragons, like uh, reverse gravity and I'm forgetting the names of all of them right now. Bigby's hand,
Daryl's wacky tentacle.
Mordekainen's seal. Actually, that might have been made up for the movie. Anyway,
Did
yeah, it's
they
fun seeing those on the screen. I think they did a really good job with it.
did they shout the name of the spell when they cast the spell?
They did not.
Okay.
Yeah, they talked about Wild Shape by name with the druid quite a bit. Uh, I think that was the main one. There's a big sequence where the sorcerer has to attune a magic item, so that is also a very direct reference to the D&D mechanics. Uh, so in D&D, there's a spell called Thaumaturgy that just does like, or no, it's Prestidigitation.
Everything.
Um,
You can do anything.
yeah, anything that doesn't affect combat, basically. Like you can make a little light, or you can slam a door, or you can put out a candle. And there's a great nod to that spell where the sorcerer makes a smell of fresh cut grass.
So did they do like fourth wall breaking stuff? Because you really could with a D&D movie if you wanted to. You could kind of, I don't know. I guess the big name that does that a lot in recent memory would be the Deadpool series.
Hmm.
I've heard.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people online talking about how funny it would be if like one of the characters died and then the actor just came back with a new character and like no one acknowledged it.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything like that.
Okay.
It felt like a just a normal fantasy movie. It just happened to be using D&D mechanics, and then there were like some kind of absurd situations that were reminiscent of a D&D campaign, but not specific to it. But Barma asks about substitutionary locomotion. I did not see that one.
Okay. So that is a spell from a old school. I think it might even be like a 40s, maybe a 50s. It could even be 60s. It's hard to tell with some of the older movies what era it was
Uh-huh.
filmed. Uh, like movie about the invasion of Britain during World War II, and there's witches and all sorts of stuff. But it's called Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and it's quite fun.
Mm,
I might even
okay.
be on Disney. Disney might have the rights to it. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but I would recommend. That's one of the spells they do to make stuff come to life.
Nice. So Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. It's in theaters now, and I recommend it. It was fun.
Out of 10, what would you rate it?
Oh, I'm so bad at reading things. I don't know, like 7.
7.
There's nothing in it I
That's
didn't
good.
like.
Okay.
There's nothing that like blew my mind. I don't think I'm gonna remember it well 2 years from now.
Yeah.
I hope they make more. It was fun.
Nice. Okay. Was it set up that it could have a good sequel, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like with the actors have talked about this with Dungeons and Dragons. There's so many possibilities. Like just open a portal and go into a steampunk world and have another adventure, or like find a new artifact and a new big bad, and you could totally have another adventure. The cast was great, and I think that they would have enough chemistry for even more films.
Berkeley, what, coming off of the huge kind of dominating effect that the Marvel movies have had in the box office,
Hmm.
did it feel like it was substantially different? Like, or did it kind of feel Marvel-ified? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. I saw critics who did not like the movie call it just like Marvel in a fantasy world, and I think they were mostly referring to the humor style and like um the large cast with the strong personalities, um where it's just kind of not super deep, very actiony, pretty funny. Um so I think that's a fair comparison. Like it had a lot of the same elements, but the story was a lot more like intimate character moments than a Marvel movie, I would say. Like the relationships were more meaningful. The stakes were lower and more personal. It's not like we need to save the world as much as I want to rescue my daughter. A little bit of both, you know. But anyway, I don't think it felt too Marvelly, but I know other people have felt like it was.
Yeah. Interesting. And did you find it refreshing to not be watching a movie that was tied into some huge series of other films?
Yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, I'm very burnt out on Marvel. I'm pretty burnt out on Star Wars. So anything fresh and standalone, I am in the mood for.
Excellent.
How have you felt about those things?
I have not gone to theaters to watch the latest two Marvel movies to come out. Um, I want to say the last one I saw in theaters was probably the third Doctor Strange. Third? Second
Hmm.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, second, yeah.
And that was reasonable, but it didn't feel like it was excellent. Um, for me personally, I think that peak Marvel is a tie between Captain American.
Captain
He's just a
America.
random American dude. Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Black Panther. I love both of those movies. They
Mm.
just do a great job. I did really enjoy Thor Ragnarok as well, but I think that I would rank that slightly lower just because it felt like it didn't really have stakes, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, I don't think that Disney's going to have a lot of success with more Marvel films. I really did enjoy Loki's like TV spin-off series. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Um, so I could see them finding success with that maybe, but at a certain point, it's just too much to try to keep track of everything. There are several book series I've got into that are like that as well, where they try to just build and build and build and build, and then you're 25 books in and don't know who anyone is or what's going on, but somehow it's connected. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm happy. I hope that they're able to let it die with dignity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I hope so too, but I kind of doubt it. Like
Yeah,
as long as it's profitable, and by that I don't mean like wildly successful. I mean making at least a little bit more than it cost.
yeah.
I think they're gonna keep going. Which is too bad. Um, yeah. Hey, do you want to hear about some Stardew Valley mods?
I would love to hear about Stardew Valley mods. I love modding games. I've made mods for games.
Mm,
Mods Modability is one of the big decision making factors for me when I look at getting a game because it can add so much to the experience. So I'm very excited about this.
nice. Hey Jared, I just realized that I put the shed in a place where we can't get into the greenhouse anymore.
Okay.
Um, I could move it, or we could place some bombs. I
I
don't know if I...
have some
Oh, wait.
bombs.
There is a way into the greenhouse. Never mind. You just have to go around.
Is it reliable?
Yeah, there's... It looks like it's gonna stay clear.
Okay.
Um, but Barma asks if games on the Switch can be modded. I don't think so. I think if you're playing on Switch, you're just stuck with the code that you were given. Do you know anything about that, Jared?
Okay. I have modded one Nintendo console in my life, and it was a Wii. And Nintendo specifically really doesn't like you to do that.
Hmm.
So it's possible if you know of people that are into it, and you can find them online if that's what you're looking for. But it has a high chance of breaking your Wii, whether or not Wii, your Switch, if that's something you're worried about. If it's not something you can easily replace, I would not recommend going there. A lot of PC games have embraced modding
Hmm.
and provide tools even to their players so that folks can do that. But for some reason on console, it's not just Nintendo, but Nintendo I think makes it the hardest to mod. Um, they've really tried to prevent that from happening. So it's possible, but unless you have programming experience and uh, the determination slash courage to risk losing your console, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, that is a bummer. Thanks for sharing that information. Good news is that Stardew Valley can run on almost any PC, and because it's like such a low weight game, um, and it's fairly cheap and goes on sale pretty often. So I own 3 copies of the game, uh, like a real fan. Just kidding. No such thing as a real fan. Um, or no such thing as a fake fan, I guess.
We're all fake fans, is what Berkeley's trying to say.
We're all fake. Look into your heart. That's not real. Um, anyway, yeah, so I got a list. I went to PC Gamer, the game journalism website,
Mhm.
and got a list of some of the most popular Stardew Valley mods. I thought today I would go through some of the more interesting ones that add new mechanics, and then maybe in a future stream we can talk about some of the silliest mods because there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
Um, all right, let me pull up my list. So first, this is one I hadn't heard of. It's called Aquarium. So this one just adds another building that is similar to the museum, but instead of collecting artifacts, you just collect fish.
That's awesome.
I think that we'd
Uh,
be really good at that since we fish so much.
True.
Since like, yeah, there's just lots of types of fish. It's fun to display them. I've seen lots of screenshots where people will put aquariums in their house or like fish tanks in their house and turn their house into an aquarium. And I always thought that looked super cool. So just having like a dedicated spot for it feels awesome.
Berkeley, have you ever played Animal Crossing?
I have not.
Okay. I don't know
I,
if there was one before the GameCube version, but I played the GameCube version. And something that they did was, every time you catch a bug or catch a fish, you have the option to send it to the museum, and then they have an aquarium. And they have like fossil setups. You can go look at your fossils or look at
Mhm.
the insects on display. I love that, and so that's a cool mod to add that feature to this game.
Yeah, nice. I
Yeah,
think the article said it might have been inspired by oh shoot, the farming game that this was based on.
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon, yeah. Do you remember an aquarium in that?
I don't, but the version of Harvest Moon I spent the most time playing was Mineral Town for the Game Boy Advance. So it was not like as fully featured as some of the console releases might have been.
Okay. All right. So that is aquarium. Um, Another popular one is platonic partners. So in this game, there's 12 individuals that you can marry and one Krobus that you can invite to live with you as a friend. And this game makes it so that all 13 of those people, you can have them live with you as a friend. I think the main 12 are still marryable if you want, but you've got the option. So that's fun.
I
No
love that.
room.
I'm
Yeah.
I think that that's super cool. Some people really enjoy the romance element of the game, and I think that it's cool if you do. For me, that doesn't super appeal, but like choosing who gets to be my best friend and hang out, you know,
Hmm.
roommates, that sounds fun. I don't know why it's different in my head, but
Yeah, makes sense. And then you get to pick that person and you get extra cutscenes with them, you get extra dialogue from them, get to give them a gift every day instead of twice a week. Uh, yeah, lots of perks. Nice. Okay, number three. This is one that I was thinking would be great for us until I realized it would be awful for us. This is called Tractor, where there's just a super expensive item you can buy called a tractor, and it just does a lot of the things the tools do. So you can use it to plant crops and harvest crops and probably water crops a lot faster. So would be helpful for playing the game without tools, except for the fact that it's just a big expensive tool.
true. Is it upgradable or not? Because that's the determining
Oh,
factor,
there
right?
we go. And definitely not upgradable by Clint. Maybe upgradable by like Robin. Because I
That's
think you have to
actually
buy a building to get the tractor.
a great point. Who's the closest equivalent to a mechanic here? I would argue maybe Willie because he works with boats.
Okay, I mean Maru would be the obvious choice, except she doesn't have a
Oh,
storefront.
that is a great point. Maru's all up in the robotics and mechanical engineering side of things.
Maybe give her like just a tiny little storefront in her bedroom.
You bring your tractor through their front door.
You know what? Sebastian also has a motorcycle that he works on in a few cutscenes, so he's got some mechanic abilities as well. Moving on, we've got the Farmtronics mod. This one, you can create little robots to work on your farm, and I love that.
That's what we
No
need.
further comment.
We gotta avoid, you know, paying wages for farmhands like Berkeley.
Hmm. And last but not least, we've got Stardew Valley Expanded. So I haven't modded this game, but from what I've seen, this is far and away the most popular mod out there. So this just adds, like the name implies, it just adds a ton to the game. So it's got new NPCs, some of which are dateable. It's got a bunch more areas. Megan in the chat was telling me earlier today that it also adds some more like teleportation mechanics, um, which is super cool. Uh, it just like greatly expands what you're able to do in the game. So for those people who have played this tens of times and get a little bored with regular Pelican Town, you can just double the size and bring some new people in.
I would love to make a Stardew Valley expanded 2.0 where everything is the same except each graphic is like widened, but not in a good way. It's like the Microsoft Paint image stretch way, so it's just all super.
Stardew Valley expanded, but only laterally.
Yeah, widened. There you go.
Stardew Valley widened. Love it. Um, so chat, I think we might have asked this question before, but I want to hear what mods would you like to play? Um, Either ones that already exist or ones that you could create if you that you would create if you could.
While you guys are
Uh,
typing, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Murder mystery, man. This is such a great
mm,
format. You know, you've got the farm, but you've also got the people. Add a little bit more intrigue and like some problem solving mysteries. I like it.
yeah. Is this like one person would get murdered every season until you're the only one left, or does the
Oh,
game just start with a murder has already happened,
I
like
think
Clue?
I didn't think of this until you just said this, but it'd be cool if like the murders continue to happen until you catch them or the murderer gets you and it's game over.
Yeah, that would definitely cut off a lot of parts of the game, like each person has recipes to give you and cutscenes to unlock. So like
True.
losing them could limit your experiences. But like if you just go into the game with that expectation, then I feel like that could be really fun game mode. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I want a mod where there's already a cutscene with Sebastian where you play a D&D game with him and Sam. Um, and I would just love to explore that more. So I would give it more dialogue options where it's Sam and Sebastian talk about D&D just when you run into them, and then also more cutscenes where you get to play more campaigns with them. I just realized I got into bed at 10. I should think of something useful to do for 2 more hours.
Wait, you can get back out of bed?
Yeah,
Oh.
and
It
multiplayer.
would have been funny if you said no and then, and then wonder who this is running around my farm with a sword. Oh, man. Wow, Robin is still here. Are we paying overtime?
I paid good money for mostly for that wood.
Time and a half, man. Or double time if it's a weekend, which it is now. That's rough.
I've seen people online who just have a bone to pick with Demetrius. Um, and so they will ask Robin to build things for them so that she's working on his birthday. Um,
Nice.
so
Just
that's a
to
mean thing
completely
to do.
deprive him of that enjoyment.
Yeah.
What is it? There's a subreddit called Malicious Compliance, and I feel like that is a great example of that, where you're not doing
That's
something that's
malicious, all right.
outright harmful, but wow, that is so much money in one day.
Whoa, 22,000 gold for the starfruit wine. We're gonna make so much starfruit wine.
Once that shed is in and we've got the wood to make more kegs.
Yeah, it's really the sap that we need to make more kegs is gonna be the limiting factor, but I've got some trees with tappers on them growing in the desert. So
Oh,
pretty
can
soon we'll
can I go look at the state of things out there? That would be fun.
Yeah, go for it. Do you want to bring a tapper with you in case there's more? Oh, we don't have ingredients for a tapper. Never mind.
George has once again mailed me 35 stone.
Again?
Mm-hmm. Found some good quality stone. Maybe you can build with it or something. From George. Thanks, George.
That's delightful.
Whoever your children slash grandchildren might be, their inheritance is quickly getting eaten into by shipping rates.
Sorry, Alex.
So Berkeley, I I don't know if I can out Megan in the chat like this. Somebody I know runs a Instagram book account, and I always forget the name. I want to say it's Briar Avenue Books. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it was on that account. Oh, they're setting up a festival. Come back later. Lame. Um, there was some poetry being shared, and it got me thinking about my favorite poem. And chat, if you're down for some philosophy and poetry, we can do that. Or Berkeley's been reading a book. We could talk about books. So let us know what you want us to discuss.
Neither of us will be offended either way.
That is true. There's always next time. Berkeley, does the dwarf like fruit?
I don't know what the dwarf likes. Do you want me to look it up?
I am giving him fruit. It says,
Okay,
this reminds me of home.
that sounds good. Do you know how to look up whether they liked the thing or not?
I assume that I can go into my social menu and then look at the color of the X, maybe?
You just have to click on the person.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Liked gifts. Oh, cool. There's a whole log.
Yeah.
It enjoyed pomegranate. Birthday 22 summer.
But Barma says lemon stone for the dwarf. Do you have a lemon stone? Is
I
that a
do
topaz?
not have lemon stone. I don't know if I've ever seen lemon stone.
I don't think that's real. Is that a name for topaz? All right, but Barma says both, so maybe you should start talking about your poem.
Okay. While I do that, let me put myself somewhere interesting that you guys can enjoy the activity. Maybe I'll go to Robin's
Oh,
house.
do you want me to read it so that you can keep doing interesting things?
Uh, it's okay. I'll read it. You guys can just look at me stand behind Robin's counter like I'm the boss.
Okay.
Okay. So this poem was written by a good friend of mine named Josh Day, and he has a website called Daily Poet Tree. It's a pun on poetry. Um,
And on daily, right?
and well, his last name is Day, and like his his mother's maiden last name was Lee, so it's also like a
Oh
pun
my
there
goodness.
too. So yeah,
I love this.
there's so many layers. But he wrote this poem that I'm about to share, and uh, it's my favorite short poem and very meaningful, and we'll talk about why afterwards. But to start it off, he shares a journal entry from uh, kind of the experience that inspired him to write the poem. March 12th, 2019. I was struggling and found myself staring out the window as the wind pushed and pulled on a tree. I tried to consider how the tree might feel about things if it had similar feelings to my own. Much good comes to a tree from the wind, but it doesn't know that. Similarly, we can't imagine that any good could come from our trials, but there's someone who has a greater perspective than our own. And then the text of the poem, by the way, the text of the poem, the stanzas are arranged to create a tree, which I didn't realize until today when I was looking at it again.
Oh, I missed that when I read it.
So the poem reads: Once a hole was dug, and a simple seed was planted. He knew not why, for he could not see the end from the beginning. Growth was seen throughout the years, a simple seed no more. Branches waved up to the sky and danced upon the wind. He cast his shade on those below, but could not see the end from the beginning. Tall and strong this oak tree grew until they cut him down. With naught to do, he wondered why, for he could not see the end from the beginning. Brought down low, or so he thought, this tree that once gave shade is now the handle on a spade by which a hole was dug. Where once was pain is now new sight, the end from the beginning. So it's not a very long poem, and I also wouldn't say that it's as fancy as maybe some of the more, I guess, renowned poets, but I just love the idea of becoming a spade. I think that there is beauty in self-sacrifice and commitment and just simply trying to make things better for those around you. And you know, my goal in life is to be a spade, right? I the imagery of being a spade, I guess, to me is kind of being useful and trying to make things better for those who will come after me, you know, to be able to provide and to enrich the lives of those and around me. But it's not always easy to get there. It's painful, but you know, even though an experience is difficult or harrowing, right? In retrospect, it's easy, or some experiences can become immensely valuable. And for me, that's been my education. You know, when I started, I wasn't really thinking about the future too much. I was thinking more like, oh man, I'm so frustrated at my job. I'm not growing. I'm not learning. It's a dead end. But now that I've almost finished my degree, I can see that the suffering has shaped me into a useful tool for my children so that they can, you know, live a life that has joy and comfort and opportunities for them to grow, hopefully without, you know, too much of the struggle for survival. So I think there's a lot of layers, to what it means to be a spade, but that was kind of the easiest example that I thought of. So thanks for letting me share that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Um, I mentioned before the stream, but I when I was growing up, I had a children's book that was a really similar story about trees aspiring to be things and then turning into something that they didn't maybe expect. The point of that story was like to become something grand and magnificent. And I really liked that in this poem, the tree became a spade so that it could dig a hole for another tree. I think there's something really beautiful about not needing to be everything for everyone and not needing to be the best, but just like giving someone else the opportunity to do what you did. I think being a parent is like the obvious example of that, but I think there's lots of smaller examples as well of just like using your humanity to see and validate someone else's humanity. Uh, that could be like mentoring someone at your job. That could be being kind to a friend, taking turns listening to each other's problems. Maybe I'm stretching the metaphor more than the poet intended, but yeah, just lots of ways where we can like give ourselves to another person.
Yeah. And thank you for kind of mentioning the idea of grandeur versus, normality. I think maybe the most beautiful thing about being a spade is that it's selfless, right? Like you're not looking to become, some great flashy huge glamorous thing, but there's so much more value in um you know being what you are, right? And just trying to do simple things to influence those around you for good and provide opportunities to those around you. um like becoming a spade isn't as cool as becoming a, like a Christmas tree, for example, but
Mhm.
Christmas tree doesn't provide as much opportunity, I feel like, right? Like it's a seasonal thing and then it gets thrown away, but the spade you can use for, as long as you're willing to take care of it. Anyways, I won't belabor it, but yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Sorry, let me belabor it just one more. Um, I, the fact that something as simple as a spade is what's giving the next tree the opportunity to do everything. Um, like I, I'm a young parent of a young child, and I sometimes feel like I need to do everything perfectly to give my child a good life. But then I think about the things that I had growing up, and my parents were great, but like I didn't have a perfect life, and I didn't need one. Sometimes it takes is just really simple things to. I think the people around us often need simpler things than we realize. We don't need to be perfect for everyone all the time. We just need to give them the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like I guess the opening paragraph before the actual poem kind of said, like, the wind is actually good for the tree, you know?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, if instead of being a spade, the tree had become a spade and walls so that the next tree would never have to have wind, like that's actually detrimental.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, got some positive feedback in the chat. Thanks, Barma. If anyone else has thoughts, let us know.
Oh, Spirits Eve has started. I think we can
Do
get a
you,
gold pumpkin.
okay, let's go.
So, Berkeley, the book,
Spread.
since
Yeah.
Bavarma requested both.
So I've been reading a book called Tress of the Emerald Sea. And this is by Brandon Sanderson, who I love, and I try not to talk about because I've noticed that Brandon Sanderson fans talk about him too much, and it's a bit of a turnoff. So I'll try to keep this brief. Um, context is that Brandon Sanderson is incredibly prolific. He just writes very consistently. He publishes 2 or 3 books a year, I think, usually on average. Um, when the pandemic started, he started writing even more just in secret. He wrote 5 novels just to deal when the rest of us were wearing sweatpants and like binge eating food and watching Great British Bake Off. he was just writing books.
What a mad
And
lad.
yeah, he did this over like 2 years. He announced that in addition to all the writing that we all knew about, he had also written, I think he wrote 5 books and he's publishing 4 of them. Uh, and he published them using a Kickstarter. I don't know if that's ever been done, and certainly not to this scale because he had the most funded Kickstarter of all time
Wow.
to publish these 4 books. Um, and the Kickstarter happened last year, and this year is when the books are being published and delivered. Um, if you're just hearing about this now, it's not too late. You can buy the books online. I saw that Target and Amazon were both selling them. I think he is publishing the audiobook through like a smaller publisher. He didn't want to go through Audible because he doesn't like their business practices, which is cool. Anyway, yeah, so they're available. The first one uh, I just got my physical copy like a week and a half ago and read it over this last week, and it was a fantastic book. So many of Brandon's books are epic fantasy. We were already talking about the fantasy genre. This is another division. Epic fantasy is, focusing more on royals and nobles and kingdoms fighting kingdoms. Many of Brandon Sanderson's books are very good at that. This book didn't try to do that. It was a very intimate story about a girl on a boat trying to rescue the boy she loves. And there's like 10 characters in the whole book. The stakes are very personal instead of political, and it allowed him to show off some writing skills that I hadn't seen from him before. The prose was very delightful, whereas usually he writes very like simply and to the point. And the characters, I think there were a lot more depth to them, and it was just a really lovely book. The one downside I will say is that it referenced a lot of his other books. So he writes in this big interconnected universe that he calls the Cosmere, kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And there are some books that stand alone fine, but as time goes on, he's writing more and more books that reference each other. And so this book, I don't know if it would be a great starting point. I'm curious if anyone has had other experiences, but I feel like it references the other books enough that it would be hard to swallow if this was your first Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah.
But I was very excited about it, so just wanted to share that.
Yeah, very cool. And just again, it's amazing to imagine or maybe difficult to imagine uh stress writing a book and having it turn out so well. you know,
Yeah, yeah,
just writing a book
agree.
in general is an accomplishment, and then add on top of that that it was like an extracurricular activity for you. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and he had his normal writing that he was doing at the same time. So yeah, it's crazy. But Barma asks, where is a good starting point? Thank you for asking. So I usually recommend people start with either Warbreaker, which is a standalone book, or Mistborn, which is a trilogy. So both of those were early in his career, and so they are not like quite as polished as some of his later books, but they're really enjoyable stories, and they, like I said, one is standalone and one is a trilogy, so you're not biting off too much. My favorite of his is called Stormlight Archive, but they're also the longest. There's 4 books out so far, and there's going to be 10 eventually, and they're each over 1,000 pages. So those ones are fantastic, but like so heavy that I don't know if I can recommend them as a starting place.
It's a time commitment
It's
for
a time
sure.
commitment, yeah. So Mistborn's probably the best way to like get a sense for his style and decide if you want to like commit to reading more. And then Warbreaker is just like a lower stakes version of that.
Berkeley, look at that number. 70,000 gold in one day.
Oh my goodness.
We pretty much just doubled our bank account. That's
That
wild.
is amazing. Yeah, I sold a bunch of starfruit. We had enough saved up that I didn't think we needed to keep saving them for wine. So I
Nice.
just sold this crop, but we'll make sure we keep building up our reserves so we have plenty of time for wine. Um, Obama says Shayla likes the same series you like. Nice. All right. Well, I think that's it. You have anything else to say, Jared?
Uh, be kind to people around you. If you're
Boring. Just kidding.
if you're if you're some future version of yourself. Oh no, did I minimize our camera view?
Oh,
Have you been able to see us
you,
this whole time, Babama, or was it just gray boxes?
that was probably when you switched over to read the poem.
Oh, it looks like we're back now to say our
Yeah.
farewells. Well, thanks again for coming out. It's always fun to hang out and talk about stuff. If you have requests for things you want to hear about, things you want to know, go to our YouTube channel or hit us up on Instagram and leave a comment or a message and let us know what you're thinking about or what you'd like us to think about for you vicariously.
Yeah.
If you need to know where to find us, check the About section of our Twitch channel or the bio of our Instagram page. You can find our link tree. It has all the links. Every link that you'll ever need for the rest of your life is in there. You need to do your taxes. We have a link for that.
Uh,
All right. Well, happy Tuesday, and we'll see you guys next week.
bye.
Bye.